Thank you very much for joining. Let's get started. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Jai Jai Jagannath Sachirananda, Tribhuvane kore ja charana vanda. Jai Jai Jagannath Sachirananda, Tribhuvane kore ja charana vanda. Nilachale Shankha Chakra Gada Padmadha, Nadiya Nagare Danda Kamandaluka, Nilachale Shankha Chakra Gada Padmadha, Nadiya Nagare Danda Kamandaluka, केहो बोले पूरवे रावण बधिला, बोलो केरा वैभव लीला प्रकाश करिला। केहो बोले पूरवे रावण बधिला, गोलो केरा वैभव लीला प्रकाश करिला। हे श्री राधार भावे गौरवता, हरे कृष्णा नाम गौर कोरिला प्रचार। श्री राधार भावे गौरवता, हरे कृष्णा नाम गौर कोरिला प्रचार। वासुदेव घोष बोले कोरि जोड़ो हाथ, जय गौर से कृष्ण से जगन्नाथ। वासुदेव घोष बोले कोरि जोड़ो हाथ, जय गौर से कृष्ण से जगन्नाथ। जय जय जगन्नाथ सच्चिदानंदा, त्रिभुवन करे जा चरण वंदा। नीलाचले शंख चक्र गदा पद्मधा, नादिया नगारे दंडा कमंडलोका। केयो बोले पुरवे रावण बधिला, गोलो केरा वैभव लीला प्रकाश करिला। श्री राधार भावे गौरवता, हरे कृष्णा नाम गौर कोरिला प्रचार। वासुदेव घोष बोले कोरि जोड़ो हाथ, जय गौर जय कृष्ण जय जगन्नाथ। जय गौर जय कृष्ण जय जगन्नाथ, जय गौर जय कृष्ण जय जगन्नाथ। गौर जय कृष्ण जय जगन्नाथ। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे। निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल, निताय गौर हरि बोल। जय जय प्रभुपा प्रभुपा प्रभुपा, जय जय प्रभुपा। श्री श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। हरे कृष्णा। Thank you very much for joining today's session. a special session, I would say. So with Srila Prabhupada's causeless mercy, we have come together to share some glories of Lord Jagannath, Lord Gauranga, and Lord Krishna. And yes, they are non-different. That's the topic for discussion of today. And so before that, let's read a beautiful sloka from Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is from Canto 3, chapter 9, verse number 11. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tam Bhakti Yoga Paribhavita Vrut Saroja Ase Srutaksita Pathananunatha Pumsam Yadyadhyata Urugaya Vibhavayanti Tattadvapu Pranayase Sad Anugrahayam Tadbhakti Yoga Paribhavita Vrut Saroja Ase Sruteksita Patananunatha Pumsam Yadyadhyata Urugaya Vibhavayanti Tattadvapu Pranayase Saddanugrahaya. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Oh my Lord, your devotees can see you through the years by the process of bona fide hearing, and thus their hearts become cleansed, and you take your seat there. You are so merciful to your devotees that you manifest yourself in the particular eternal form of transcendence in which they always think of you. The statements here that the Lord manifests himself before the devotee in the form in which the devotees like to worship him indicates that the Lord becomes subordinate to the desires of the devotee, so much so that he manifests his particular form as the devotee demands. This demand of the devotee is satisfied by the Lord because he is pliable in the terms of transcendental loving service of the devotee. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 4.11. Yayatha mam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. We should note, however, that Lord is never the order supplier of the devotee. Here in this verse, it is particularly mentioned, Tvam Bhakti Yoga Paribhavita. This indicates the efficiency achieved through execution of mature devotional service or prema, love of Godhead. The state of prema is achieved by the gradual process of development from faith to love. On faith, one associates with bona fide devotees, and by such association, one can become engaged in bona fide devotional service, which includes proper initiation and the execution of the primary devotional duties prescribed in the revealed scriptures. This is clearly indicated herein by the word Sruta Ikshita. Sruta Ikshita path is to hear from bona fide devotees who are conversant with Vedic wisdom, free from mundane sentiment. By this bona fide hearing process, the neophyte devotee becomes cleansed of all material rubbish, and thus he becomes attached to one of the many transcendental forms of the Lord as described in the Vedas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschat Desatarini. Panchakalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Namo mahavadanyaya Krishna prema pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya namne gauratishe namah. Panchatattvatmakam Krishna bhaktarupa sarupakam bhaktavataram bhaktaksham namami bhaktasaktikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrisabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So thank you very much once again for joining this special session of Jagannath Kathāmṛtam session. So last Thursday we had a glimpse of Rath Yatra pastime, how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was singing and dancing in front of Lord Jagannath. So this time we'll be discussing a little bit about the identity of Lord Jagannath. Who is Lord Jagannath and how he reciprocates with his devotees. So, of course, as we read from this verse 3.9.11, Lord is so merciful. He is Bhakta Vatsal, he is Bhakta Ranjan. He really reciprocates with the desire of the devotees. As the devotee would like to approach the Lord, Lord also reciprocates with him accordingly. So, and especially Lord Jagannath is called Bhavo Binodiya Chokadola or Bodo Thakura. Bhavo Binodiya, he's overwhelmed with the emotions of his devotees, and he does not differentiate who is calling and what way he is calling, and he is there to reciprocate with everybody. Like there, somebody approaches Lord Jagannath as like in as many ways, as they might like to. Maybe maybe we can start with that. How even beyond even our Sanatan Dharma also, there are so many right who have approached Lord Jagannath and they have received the mercy of Lord Jagannath. Like there is of course this famous devotee of Lord Jagannath called Salaveg. We have discussed many more times about the Salaveg, and especially if you go to Odisha, anybody, right? Especially who has a little bit of love towards this Utkala culture or Kalinga culture, right? They can really sing one or two lines of some of the bhajans of Salavega. So he was born Muslim, but then his composed songs are so deep, full of in the mood of separation, in the Vipralava Bhav. And it's so touching, heart melts, right? Whoever at whatever time, somebody hears, one or two lines of these songs, like the way he chants, Jagabandhu he Gosai, Jagabandhu he Gosai. The way he calls out Jagabandhu, like he is the friend of the all the people of the universe, all the living entities of the universe, right? And how, if he is a Jagabandhu, how can he really differentiate whether somebody belongs to this caste, this religion, or from this place or that place? So today we'll be discussing so many beautiful pastimes, how Lord Jagannath, how he reciprocates with everybody, and how, right? Yes, Lord Jagannath is not different than Krishna, and the same Lord Krishna, he's also not different than Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Jai Gaura, Sai Krishna, Sai Jagannath. How all these three transcendental personalities, they are same, they are not different. They are there just to reciprocate with the desires of a devotee. That's what we thought. But before going that, right? So first of all, let's talk about Lord Jagannath himself. How, like during this Mughal time period, like it was very difficult, like all over the India. We have seen and we have heard in so many other seasons as well, how the commanders of Mughal army. They had tormented our Vrindavan and or in the west part of India, east part of India. Even this Puri was not different. Like more than 20 times, it was attacked, by the Mughals, with various, commanders. They really had a, like, especially the people of Odisha, they had a tough time. And yes, especially the toughest time period was when Aurangzeb was really the ruler, and he was really sending again and again to devastate, this Rath Yatra and the worship of Lord Jagannath, and again. And there was a time period, like around for 12 years or so, the deity worship of Lord Jagannath was completely stopped. Even Rath Yatra also was not happening during that point of time. And nobody was coming, nobody was going right to like this Puri, right? And it was really one, you can say, the darkest period, like it is said, the 1691 to 1703. Right, there was nothing happening, and the people of Odisha, they were really completely in a drought kind of in a situation, because they were also not able to see, their beloved Lord Jagannath. And it was a tough time. And then there was one devotee of Lord Nrsimhadev called Sri Ramadaita Goswami. Somehow he put that courage, and then he went to the court of Aurangzeb, and he approached, don't you know that like what you're talking about, Allah or Khuda, he's not different than, right, like Lord Jagannath, And Aurangzeb heard him, and then he revealed to that Goswami that, by the way, for your information, right, I was so astounded that I am so sinful, and I am so wretched, I'm so fallen, because I have done so many mischievous activities, so sinful activities. But still, my Khuda appeared to me yesterday night and said that, please ensure that Lord Jagannath is well taken care, and please ensure that you don't stop Lord's Rath Yatra, and then not only that, even right, he made a will, right, and it is there in our Odisha government archives, right, with a proper documentation that there is a place near Khurda. It's called near Khurda. It's called Markandapur Tahsil, right? In that area, he has given some piece of land that, okay, this, the tax that is coming out of that place will be really, contributed to Lord Jagannath temple. And then, right, from today onwards also, Lord Jagannath Rath Yatra will not stop, everybody can approach. So, right, how, like you see, Lord Jagannath is so merciful, right, who has really done so much wretched, sinful, and fallen things, right, all over India, and tortured so many people, that Lord appeared, right, or Lord inspired him, towards the end of his life. And of course, very soon, of course, as we know, that and Aurangzeb left, and like it is also mentioned that, Lord inspired him, right, at the end of his life, right. He had he had those couple of words, that came from his mouth, right, like where he was saying that, right, I came alone and I'm going as a stranger. I do not know who I am, what I have been doing. I have sinned terribly, and I do not know what punishment awaits me. Like he was saying that, bury this wanderer, in the valley of deviation from the right path, with this head bare, right? And because every ruined sinner who is conducted bareheaded before the grand emperor God is sure to be an object of mercy. Like he was basically, he meant to say that, like, I have come, in a bare hand. I'm now really going in a bare hand. I have done so many nonsense activities throughout my life. Definitely I'm not an object of mercy at this point of time. And I wanted to show that to everybody. Like, and he was telling his son that how, useless and foolish person I am. Right, and this is all, right, is mentioned, right, and documented, like all this he mentioned to his son Muhammad. But then, like, like how it is mentioned that how during his last moments he was inspired inspired by the Lord, and to have that realization of humility and surrender to the Lord, recognizing the supremacy of the Lord. So it shows really that how Lord does not differentiate anybody. Like a person is not really so much fallen that Lord cannot deliver him. So that's about, like, even then non-Sanatan Dharma people, right? How he could also get the mercy of Lord Jagannath. Now coming back, right, to our Sanatan Dharma, right, where everybody relates to Lord Jagannath in a different ways. All of us know that this Ganapati Bhatta pastime, how one Maharashtrian Brahman, he came and he wanted to see Lord Ganesh, right, in the Sri Mandir, because he was so attached to Lord Ganesh ji, and he found that Lord Ganesh ji is not there, and he was about to go, and then Lord called him back. Yes, I'm there for you. Right, please come. And that was the day of Devasnan Purnima, just to fulfill the desire of one devotee. Right, Lord made a costume of that Gaja Vesha. That's what we see on the Devasnan Purnima. He kind of comes up with a beautiful poem to show how he is Bhakta Vatsal, how he really reciprocates with his devotees. You can see how Lord is so dear to his devotees that he can do anything. Just to commemorate, that Lord is subservient, right? Like today we just read from this Srimad Bhagavatam 3.9.11. It's not that, like, of course, Lord is order supplier to his devotees, but Lord becomes subservient to his devotees because of the transcendental love of his devotees. That's about how Lord reciprocates with his devotees as Ganeshji, right? And also he reciprocates with his Saivites as well. And like especially like Saivites, how they see Lord Jagannath, Balabhadra, Subhadra, they see Balabhadra as a Saiva, right? Like during this Harihara Vesha, like Hari is of Lord Jagannath and Hara is really they put Lord Baladev. And even if during Rath Yatra cart, right, Lord Baladev's cart is called Taladhwaja. In the Taladhwaja cart, right, like on the Parswa Devatas and all around, different deities of Lord Shiva are there. But how do you really understand it? The devotees really understand that, like as we hear in Srimad Bhagavatam, that who is the predominating deity of Rudra? Lord Sankarsana. Lord Sankarsana is not different than Baladev, right? So, and Lord really empowers his devotee also, right? He also empowers himself, and that okay, I am also not different than my devotee. So he, Lord Baladev, Lord Sankarsan, he really brings Mahadev, Rudra, Lord Shiva, into close to him, and that's how he really reciprocates, with his devotees in that Rudra form. So then there, even Lord Jagannath, he reciprocates with his devotees in the mood of even Ramachandra. There is this beautiful pastime, right, which says that how one time Tulasidas, he had come to Jagannath Puri, and he had come, and of course, Tulasidas, he has written this beautiful book, Ramcharitamanas, and he came and he entered Lord Jagannath's temple, and he saw that yes, so we have beautiful Lord Jagannath with big eyes, and then next to Lord Jagannath is Mother Subhadra, and next to Mother Subhadra is Lord Baladev. But then, like he didn't find Dhanurdhar, and Lord Sri Ram, Mother Sita or Lakshman. And in a very dejected way, he was coming back, and then he saw that one monkey came and and took away his uttari, and then after that, like he saw one Brahmana, right, chastising that monkey. Oh, why you have taken that? Give it to him. And that monkey once again brought back that chadar, to Tulsidas, and then Tulsidas was really sitting in one place. It was like a very beautiful place, right, in Puri. it's called Danda Mukunda Sahi, right? In that place, he was worshipping his beloved Lord Ram. And on that day night, he got a beautiful dream, and where Lord Jagannath came and told him that, oh my dear devotee Tulsidas, isn't that in Ramcharitamanas you have spoken about the absolute truth, the Param Brahma in this way? How you have written? Binu pada chalai suni binu kana, kara binu karam karai vitunana, anana rahita sakala rasa bhogi, binu bani bakata bada jogi, tana binu parasa nayana binu dekha, grahi grana binu basa sesa, asi sabha bhanti aloki kakarani, mahima jasujai, nahi varani. What is the meaning of this? He's saying, Bino pada chalai, sunai bino kana. Bino pada chalai. Oh, Tulsidas, you have written this Chopai and this Ramcharitmanas. What you have written? Bino pada chalai, bino sunai bino kana. You walk without feet, and sunai bino kana. You are hearing without any, ears, and then kara bino karama, Karabinu, without hand, you are doing your activities. Karai vidhunana. Anana rahita sakala rasa bhogi. Without mouth, you are testing so wonderful chapan bhog, all the time. And binu bani bakata bada yogi. You are a so clever speaker, even without a tongue, right? And you touch without a body, you see without your eyes. Tanu binu parasa nayana binu dekha, grahi grana binu basa sesa. You are smelling without a nose, and your activities are so wonderful that they are beyond description. Isn't that you are talking about me in your Ramcharitmanas? You are talking about so my wonderful qualities in Ramcharitmanas. And then Tulsidas, he woke up and realized that yes, I have talked about Lord Jagannath, but I didn't realize that he would really appear in this way, right? He's so merciful, for this people of the Kali Yuga, that the same Param Brahma, same Lord Ram, same Lord Krishna, he is appearing in this beautiful form. And then next day morning, he really woke up and once again entered to the temple. And then in that Ratna Vedi in Sri Mandira, what he saw? He saw the beautiful form of Ram, Mother Sita and Lakshman. So like Ram, Lakshman, Sita ji ki jai. So yes, Lord is so merciful. He really reciprocates, with the desire of his devotees. Right? We talked about, right, from the non-Sanatan Dharma or in the Sanatan Dharma. Of course, there are many more. Like even when Guru Nanak, he had come right to this place, Puri, right? And because he seemed to be a fakir, a Muslim person. Even he was not allowed, inside the temple. And then he was just staying outside, right? And then, right, all the pandas, they really observed that Lord is not doing anything. Lord is not accepting anything. And all the pandas, they got really disturbed. And what to do? Nothing else to do. They took shelter of Lord. They, spoke to the king that this is what happening. Lord is not accepting any of our offering. And then king, once Lord reciprocates to the king and the pandas, right? And the king got to know that this one person has come and right, he's a dear devotee of the Lord, and Lord is with him. And then king at that time was Prataprutra. He went and to that sea beach side, and there he approached Guru Nanak ji, and they said that did you feel bad that the devotees of the Jagannath temple, the pandas, they didn't allow you? Right, and it is mentioned that like this Guru Nanak ji, he showed his palm to King Prataprutra. You see, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra ji is in my palm, and that's where I'm worshipping him. I'm really sharing all my dohas to Lord, and then all the pandas, they realize that yes, because Lord is hearing, and completely focused his attention only to you, right? He's not able to hear anything else. He's not accepting anything else. And then, they brought Guru Nanak Ji into the temple, and to this date, all the Sikhs, they are allowed inside the temple. So yes, even some people, right, like who are Buddhist, they even worship Lord Jagannath as a Buddha. They said samsara jana ko tarive nimante Bodha rupe vijaya kari chanti Jagannath. Like especially Saradas, some devotees of Odisha, they worship even Lord Jagannath. But then, like what exactly his true identity? The true identity is really, as we were discussing last time, yes, we people of Odisha and all over the people there, they were celebrating Lord Jagannath's Rath Yatra, they were worshipping Lord Jagannath, but the true meaning of Lord Jagannath were really manifested by Mahaprabhu. He really showed us what is the meaning of Lord Jagannath and what is the meaning of Rath Yatra. And that was revealed to us, by our acharyas. And how do we know that even all the padhatis, right, to this day, all the padhatis, all the daily rituals of the temple, they are performed like as an worship to Lord Krishna. Like there are like 4 different times, how Lord Jagannath is worshipped. And in the morning, in the Pratha time, right? Like Lord is worshipped as a Makhanchor. Lord is worshipped as a Bal Gopal. Like he is worshipped with his beautiful Gopal form, right? Like how he is worshipped. Brajajana Palana Surakulana Sana Nanda Godhana Rakvala Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Sundarananda Gopala. So he is, worshipped early in the morning. Lord Jagannath is worshipped early in the morning as a Navanita Taskara Sundarananda Gopala. That's the mood. He is worshipped in the morning, like with a smiling face, crawling on the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, with a lump of butter. How he like Mother Yasoda, that's what it's called Upalibhaga. Like the way Mother Yasoda, feed Lord Krishna. That's the same way, the devotees of the Lord, they offer, special bhoga to really Lord Jagannath. And in the Madhyana time, in the noon time, Lord Jagannath is meditated upon, like in this Vrindavan form, like as we sing, in our parampara, that Vrindavana Ramya Sthana Devya Chintamani Dhama Ratana Mandira Manohara Abruta Kalindi Nire Raja Hamsa Keli Kore Tahe Sobhe Kanaka Kamala Tara Madhe Hema Pitha Astadale Vestita Astadale Pradhana Naika Tara Madhe Ratnasane Basi Ache Dui Jane Syama Sange Sundari Radhika. This is the way, like all the pandas, they worship Lord Jagannath. How Lord Jagannath, like he's sitting in the mood of Radha and Krishna in this Astadala Kamala, in this 8 petals lotus, and all the gopis and the cowherd boys are all around, and all the sages, right? All are kind of having a wonderful reciprocation with this beautiful and divine couple. And in the dusk, in the Sandhya time, how Lord is really worshipped in this Sri Mandira Puri. It is mentioned that he is really worshipped in the mood of Lord Krishna as in Dwaraka. In Dwaraka, how Lord's like he is sitting in this Dwarka and that assembly, and he's having a philosophical discussion, with Uddhava and all his associates, where he is talking about like how this how to approach him, what is the philosophy of bhakti yoga, right? Where he is talking about prayena bhakti yogena satsangena bina Uddhava napaya vidyate samyak pranayam hi satamaham, like he's giving a lot of gyan, and at the same time he's talking about the supremacy of bhakti. Lord Krishna is saying to Uddhava, the Uddhava, I'm really approached only by the devotion, by all the saintly persons, no other way, no other way, no other way, that's why like as we hear in Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto, right, the beautiful discussion of Lord Krishna and Uddhava, that's the kind of philosophical discussion that happens during that evening time. That's the mood through which all the devotees there, the pandas, they meditate on Lord Jagannath, and in the night, Ratri time, and all of us know there's a most beautiful Vesa Lord does, like the Bada Singhara Vesa, where Lord is getting ready, Krishna is getting ready to meet with his beloved on the bank of Yamuna, right? Like Yamuna tatachara gopi vashanahara rasa rasika kripa moya Sri Radha Vallava Vrindavana Natavara. Like he's in the dancing form. He's getting ready, to go to his dancing party, right? So that's why the devotees really meditate, So, and also it is mentioned that that like every deity has a mula mantra, like as a chief mantra through which deity is worshipped. And here in Jagannath Mandir Puri, the Bija mantra, what is that Bija mantra through which he is worshipped? He is worshipped as a Gapi Jana Vallabhaya Swaha. Gopi Jana Vallabhaya, right? He is the dear to the gopis. He is worshipped as a Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Swaha, right? He's a Gopi Jana Vallabha. That's how he's really worshipped. That Lord Jagannath is worshipped as a Krishna with the gopis. So, is that enough? There are so many others, right? Like, especially for hundreds of years, all of us, we chant this beautiful Jagannathastakam, right? That Jagannathastakam also nothing but like, Kadachit Kalindi Tatapipina Sangita Karabo Mudaviri Nari Badana Kamala Swada Madhupa. What is the meaning of this? As we sing this Jagannathastakam, like how Lord Jagannath, who is a Krishna, he is roaming on the bank of Yamuna along with his devotees, and then Mudaviri Nari Badana Kamala Swada Madhupa. He's like in a bee. He's like in a bee, it's just like in a bee go to the different lotus flowers to take the nectar. Similarly, Lord Krishna, he's really releasing the nectar of all the Brajavadhu Naris, right? And then in the second verse we hear that like what beautiful form, right? Lord Jagannath is always there. Bhuje save venum sirasi sikhi picham katitate Dukulam netrante sahachara kataksham vidadhate Sada Srimad Vrindavana basati lila parichayo Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathagami Bhavatume. Like we're worshiping the Lord Jagannath. How? He's Bhuje Save Venum. He's holding a flute. And he's having a Sikhi Picham. He's having a peacock feather. And he's having Dukulam Netranta. He's having beautiful glances towards his devotees. And Sada Srimad Vrindavana Basati Lila Parchan. He's always there in Vrindavan. So that's how, like we hear in Jagannathastakam and so many other places, right? How Jagannath is non-different than Krishna himself. He is a Swayam Rupa. And that's how, like Mahaprabhu, when he used to visit Sri Mandira, he used to see that. Maybe we can discuss the beautiful pastime that happens in Puri and Jagannath Mandir, how every day Mahaprabhu would used to go to visit the Sri Mandira, Lord Jagannath, as a part of his daily activities. This pastime is there, and not only he was so fond of Lord Jagannath, but then he was also appreciating whoever would come to worship Lord Jagannath. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is so dear, to Lord Jagannath, and Lord Jagannath is also so dear to Mahaprabhu that when Mahaprabhu was traveling in the South India, right, during his South India tour, right, and in one place, right, in which place? In Venkata Bhatta's house in Srirangam. He stayed for 4 months, right, during the Chaturmasya. And then yet it is said that, like, how he carved out, the deities of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra. So now we go to Srirangam, right, and we see the place where Mahaprabhu stayed for 4 months, and the beautiful deity, carved by Jagannath, carved by Mahaprabhu as Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra. We can really see that. So that's what we can really understand how Mahaprabhu was always thinking of Lord Jagannath, and how he was seeing, he was seeing as a Syam Sundar Krishna, right? Yes, and not only that, like like he was like this very beautiful pastime happens in the Sri Mandira once. Okay, so this is it's pastime. Okay, we'll discuss about this pastime. Okay, this Odia lady. Okay, we can discuss very briefly that. So how Mahaprabhu would stand, always behind that Garuda Stamba. Some of you might have seen the finger marks of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, behind that Garuda Stamba. And because he would not go, just directly barge in, near the Lord Jagannath, because his mood was in the form of a devotee, in the mood of a devotee. Now he would, Mahaprabhu would think that how Garuda is so dear devotee of Lord Jagannath, let me stand, near his devotee, so that when Lord Jagannath would be definitely, watching, giving a glance, to Garuda, at that time I'll also get a glance of Lord Jagannath, and also he would see that yes, Gopi Vartur Pada Kamalayar Das Dasanu Das. He was always thinking that how I am the servant of the servant of the servant of the Gopi Vartur, like the beloved of the gopis. So that yes, that's what sometimes we want to approach Lord directly, but Mahaprabhu is saying that no, we have to approach through the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. So here this beautiful pastime happens, right, when Mahaprabhu was taking this beloved, his beloved's darshan. At that time one Odia lady came. Odia kastri bhide darshan na paya, Garuda chadi dekhe Prabhu ras kanda pade diya. And at that time this Odia lady, in so much of eagerness, she put one foot in the skanda of Mahaprabhu and another leg on the this Garuda Stamba. Like with that, like you can see, right? And not only he was doing Vaishnava aparad, even Bhagavan aparad, because Mahaprabhu is not different than Krishna, right? And he was doing that, and seeing that, like Mahaprabhu's associate, who was Govinda, he became anxiety, like if like you are a servant of is like Mahaprabhu, and it's your duty to ensure that like everything is there appropriately, right? And if somebody is really doing this mistake, he wanted to correct that old Odian lady. Dekhiya Govinda aste vyasta stri ke varjila, tare naam aite Prabhu Govinde nisedhila. So Govinda, once he saw that, she said, no lady, don't you understand what mistake you are doing? But then when Govinda said that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in turn chastised Govinda, right? What he said, Adivasya ei stri re nakara varjana. He chastised, Mahaprabhu chastised Govinda, his assistant, that you are Adivasi, you don't have any culture, right? Karuka yathishta Jagannatha darshana, right? Like let her do the darshan of Lord Jagannath. Right? Why you're disturbing this lady? It's okay, right? See, she's really putting her leg on my shoulder, right? So I don't mind. But you see, the eagerness through which she's really having darshan of Lord Jagannath, right? Aste veste sei nari bhumite namila Mahaprabhu dekhi tara charana vandila. Then at that time that lady realized that, oh, what mistake I did. She got down, and then she offered obeisances, and at the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. But then what Mahaprabhu is saying that, Tara artha dekhi Prabhu kohite lagila, eto arthi Jagannath moro nahi dila. Now, Mahaprabhu is see, how much he's appreciating, the eagerness of a devotee, and he would not mind whatever mistake that you might commit during that one time, right? This is what we can really see, right? The greatness of the Lord as well. Like Mahaprabhu said, Eto arti Jagannath more nahi dila, the kind of an eagerness this lady is having, I don't have that. Lord Jagannath has not given it to me, right? And Jagannatha avishta ihara tanu mane prane moras kandhe padadiya che taho nahi jane. Now she is fully absorbed, right? Avishta means completely absorbed. Tanu mana pran, tan man pran, right? This body, mind, and soul completely attached, to Lord Jagannath. You see, that's what Mahaprabhu really accepts, or expects, from his devotees, that how tan man dhan pran, everything, we should be really attached and absorbed at the lotus feet of Lord Jagannath. Moras kande pada diya che tara nahi jane. She was even not aware, right? You see the absorption, right? She was oblivious to anything else, right? See. Aho Bhagyavati. This is the quality of a Bhagyavan or Bhagyavati person, whose mana, tana, and pran, completely attached to Lord Jagannath without thinking anything else. This is Bhagyavati. Bandi ihara paya, we should really pray at her feet. Ihara prasade aiche arti amara paya. Mahaprabhu is teaching us, we can really get that absorption by worshipping who has that. And Purve asi jabe kaila Jagannatha darshana, Jagannatha dekhi sakshat Brajendra Nandana. So how Mahaprabhu used to see Lord Jagannath as sakshat Brajendra Nandana. Whenever Mahaprabhu used to come and see Jagannath, he was not seeing with chaka dola chaka akhi, right? But he was saying that Shyam Sundar form, beautiful, in Tribhanga form. That's how Lord Mahaprabhu used to see Jagannath. So there are so many pastimes, right? How Jagannath and Krishna, they are non-different, and we saw that through the scriptures, through the Jagannathastakam, through Mahaprabhu's teachings, right? How it is very vividly mentioned. So now let's move forward, where we'll talk about how Mahaprabhu and Jagannath, they are non-different. And anybody remembers any pastimes, where it is mentioned how Lord Jagannath and Gauranga Mahaprabhu, they are non-different? Anybody? You can just send a message, or you can just raise your hand. Anybody remembers? Okay. So let's kind of maybe we'll just talk about one pastime. So this is a very, very beautiful pastime that's there in Antalila. Yes, thank you. Okay, we have Sirisa Haritya. Thank you, Mataji. Yes, thank you very much. Maybe we'll talk about first in Narasimhananda Brahmachari pastime. This pastime of Narasimhananda Brahmachari. So how Jai Gaura Sai Krishna Sai Jagannath. So this Narasimhananda Brahmachari, he was such a beloved devotee, right? And beloved follower of Lord Narasimha, that he was known as Narasimhananda, and he would always carry Lord Narasimha with him. And this is the happened 1 year when Srikanta Sen is you can say the nephew of Sivananda Sen. Sivananda Sen, who is Sivananda Sen? Sivananda Sen was the organizer, right? Of when all the devotees from Bengal, they used to go to Puri. He was the yatra coordinator, yatra organizer. Not only that, he was really taking care of just their transportation, accommodation, end to end, everything, right? Without asking anything from the pilgrims or the associates of Mahaprabhu, who would be so eager to visit Mahaprabhu. their prasadam, all the toll taxes, all, everything he was really taking care. And one year, like when Sikanta Sen, the nephew of Sivananda Sen, was returning from Puri to Bengal, Mahaprabhu would tell him that, tell this year that all the devotees of Bengal, that should not come to Puri, and I'll come there. And I'll spend time, with Sachi Mata and all the devotees there, personally. And then the devotees, right, because this was the instruction of Mahaprabhu, they didn't go to Puri, though every year, right, they used to leave before the Chaturmasya, and they used to spend time Rath Yatra and all the 4 months, and after Chaturmasya they would be returning, from Puri to Bengal. But this year they didn't go. And then all the devotees headed by Jagannath Pandit and Nityananda Prabhu and also Sivananda Sen and everybody, they were really getting worried, Advaita Acharya and so on, that Mahaprabhu had told that he would come, and he has not yet come. What happened? How do you really understand it? And at that point of time, this devotee called Narsimananda Brahmachari, he came to Navadip, and he saw that how the devotees there, they were so, morose, so they were so, sad, because their life was with Mahaprabhu, and they were not having an association of Mahaprabhu at that point of time. And Narasimhananda Brahmachari said, okay, don't worry, I will bring Mahaprabhu now. And he started organizing, wonderful, like manifestation of, his devotion, right? And like he said that, yeah, please organize, because Mahaprabhu is coming, means we should have a wonderful feast. Please prepare all the prasadam and everything. All the devotees, they started, organizing wonderful, programs, right? And then, right after the end of the day, he said, yes, Mahaprabhu has already come, near Panihati, and yes, next day he will be here. Let's get ready. Right? And then, all the devotees, they started preparing for all the paraphernalia and all the prasadam for the Lord. And then, okay, let's maybe read a little bit from that Chaitanya Charitamrita directly, so that we can get more releasement. Okay. Yes, Brahmachari said that, yes, I'll bring, please be satisfied. I assure you, Karavasanda, Amito Aniva Tara, Tritiya Divas, in 3 days I will bring, Lord. Tahara Prabhava Prema Jane Dui Jane, Anive Prabhu Reve, Nischaya Kaila Mane, like all the devotees, they knew that, yes, how devoted, was Nrsimhananda Brahmachari. And definitely, right, if he is saying that he will bring Mahaprabhu, definitely he will bring. And Duidina Dhyana Kari, like he meditated for 2 days, and then he said, yes, and the Lord has already come to Panihati. And he said that Kali Madhyana, by tomorrow noon, he will be here. And in this way, like Tabe Tare Etha Abi Anivasta, Nischaya Kahila Kichu Sandeha na kara. Don't be doubtful that, whether Lord will come. Definitely Lord will come. Ye chahiye taha karo hoya tatpara ati tvaraya kariva paka suna atapara. Bring all the ingredients very soon, and that's how we'll be cooking. And please do whatever I say. Right? Paka samagri anamami jaha chahi je magila Sivananda ani dilate. Whatever, Nrsimhananda Brahmachari asked, Sivananda Sen and all the devotees, they brought everything to him. Pratakala haite paka harila apara karila apara nana vyanjana pitha khira nana upahara. They prepared very nice ingredients of pitha and vyanjan, kheer, and so many things. And then Jagannathara bhina bhago pruthaka badila Chaitanya Prabhura lagi aro bhogadila. So, he prepared the bhoga for Lord Jagannath separately, for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu separately, and then his Ishtadev was Lord Narsimadev, for Lord Narsimadev separately. Ishtadev Narsimha lagi pruthaka badila tina jane sami praya bahire dhyana kaila. Once, distributed 3 sets of bhogas to 3 deities, Lord Jagannath, Mahaprabhu, and Lord Narsimadev, his Ishtadev. Then he started meditating once again. Dekhe Sigra Asi Vasila Chaitanya Gosai, Tina Bhogo Khaila Kichua, our sister nine. And he's meditating, and then what he saw that? Dekhe Sigrasi. Immediately Mahaprabhu came. Chaitanya Gosai came. What happened? Tina Bhogo Khaila. Which Tina Bhoga? Like, yes, he had given 3 separate bhogas. One for Lord Jagannath, one for Mahaprabhu, one for Lord Narasimha. But Mahaprabhu, he himself, like taking all these 3 bhogas. Tina Bhogo Kaila Kichu, Avasista Nai, leaving nothing, no remnants, because usually we want to offer something, and we expect the remnants. So that's for the the devotees of the Lord. But here Mahaprabhu honored everything. He didn't leaving anything. And then Pradyumna, or like Narasimhananda Brahmachari, right? Ananda bihola Pradyumna pade asrudhara, haha kiva karo boli karo e futkara. So Narasimhananda Brahmachari, he became transcendently ecstatic, seeing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he had everything, the tears in his eyes, and he's saying that, oh Lord, what are you doing? What are you doing? Aha kiva kara, like, wow, you are eating everyone's food. What are you doing? Jagannath tamai ekya khavatara bhaga nasimara bhago kane karo upayaga. I understand that you and Lord Jagannath are not different. But how can you eat Lord Narasimha's prasad? Now, whatever has been offered as a bhoga to Lord Narasimha, I have no objection if you take Lord Jagannath's, whatever has been offered to you. But how can you take, of Lord Narasimha's bhoga? Nasimara hoila jani aji upavasa. Thakur upavasi rohe jiye koiche dasa. No, yes. Now what will happen? You took all the bhoga that was offered to Lord Narasimha, and because of that, my Lord is my Ishtadev, Lord Narasimha. He will be fasting. And if the Thakur, if my master Lord Narasimha is fasting as a das of Lord Narasimha, what can I also do? I have to also fast. Bhojana dekhi yadyapi tara hrudaya ullas, like when he saw that Mahaprabhu is really eating everything, he became so ecstatic, Narasimha laksha kare bahe kichu kare dukkhavas. But then he saw that, oh, my deity Lord Narasimha, he could not take anything, he became, disappointed about it. Swayam Bhagavana Krishna Chaitanya Gosai Jagannatha Narasimha Saha kichu bheda nahi. Yes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna Chaitanya, Swayam Bhagavana Krishna Chaitanya Gosai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna Chaitanya. Jagannatha Narasimha Saha kichu bheda nahi. He is not different than Jagannath and Lord Narasimha. There is no difference between them. Iha janivare pradyumnera gudha haita mana taha dekhaila Prabhu koriya bhajana. Yes, Pradyumna Brahmachari, Narasimhananda Brahmachari, he was very eager, to understand this fact, and that's why Mahaprabhu revealed this fact with a practical demonstration. Bhojana kariya Prabhu gela pani hati santoso paila dekhi vyajana paripati. So after Mahaprabhu honored this whatever was really offered in these 3 portions, and he took it, and then he went back once again to Panihati, to the house of Raghava Pandit. And at that point of time, Sivananda, and all the devotees, they were Jagannatha, and they were all waiting, and they came back and said, Sivananda, kene karha futkar, why are you screaming so much? What happened? They were going, dekho tamar prabhura vyavahar. What, Sivananda, said, why are you expressing dismay? And the Narasimhananda said, dekho tamar prabhura vyavahar, my deity is who? Narasimha. And your deity is who? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. देखो आपका deity जो Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, उनका थोड़ा व्यवहार थोड़ा देखो क्या किए अभी वो. What he did? तीनों जनार भोगो तेहो एकला खाइला. मैं 3 भोग दिया था, लेकिन वो अकेला ही खा गए. जगन्नाथ नरसिम्हा उपवास से होइला. मेरे भगवान नरसिम्हा and also Jagannath, उनको तो उपवास हो गया आज. सुनी शिवानंद रचिते होइला संशय किवा प्रेमावासे को है किवा सत्य होय. Once Sivananda heard that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, and then he honored all this 3 bhogas, and then he went. He was not able to fathom whether to believe it or not believe it. He had little, he was not sure what this Narasimhananda Brahmachari he is saying. whether it's a fact, or like his, a dream, right? तबे शिवानंद किछुन कहे ब्रह्मचारी सामग्री आना नरसिंह लागी पुनः पाक करी. And at that time, he said to Narasimhananda, bring more food. Let me cook again for Lord Narasimhadev. And तबे शिवानंद भोग सामग्री आनीला पाक करी नरसिंह भोग लगाईला. Once again, they brought everything, and Narasimhananda Brahmachari, he offered again to Lord Narasimhadev. And then what happened? Varsantare, next year, Sivananda Laya Bhaktagan. Sivananda once again he brought all the devotees of Bengal to where? To Nilachal. Nilachale dekhe jahan Prabhu ra charan. Okay, whatever happened, because that was the commitment Lord had given that year. But this year, definitely let's all of us go once again to Nilachal, Puri, to have a darshan of the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. And all the devotees were sitting one day, and then what happened? Eko dina sabhate Prabhu bata chalaila Nrsimhanandera guna kahite lagina. And one day, when all the devotees were sitting, and the Mahaprabhu talked about, and he glorified Nrsimhananda. He glorified his, praised his transcendental qualities. And what is he saying? Gata varsa pose mora kora ila bhojana kabhu nahi khaiye che mishtara vyanjana. Yes, last year, he offered me wonderful sweetmeats, wonderful bhojans, right? Kabhu nahi khaiye che mishtana vyanjana. And I have never ever honored this kind of this preparations. Suni bhakta gana mane ascharya manila. Once all the devotees heard that, and they were really surprised, that oh, Mahaprabhu was there indeed. Sivanandara mane tabe pratyaya janmila. And at that time, that Sivananda Sen could really understand, and that yes, indeed Mahaprabhu had come and he honored the prasadam, right? Yes, there are so many pastimes are there, like when Adita Acharya, he had invited Mahaprabhu while Mahaprabhu was going from Navadip to Puri. At that point, when Adita Acharya's house, Mahaprabhu was there, and Adita Acharya had put a grand feast. And at that point of time, right, Mahaprabhu said, oh, Adita Acharya, you have offered me so much, and I just sannyasi. How will I take all this? And then at that point of time, Adita Acharya is saying, oh, in Jagannath Puri, you are taking, so much, your hands never get dried up. And now, this is nothing, So you are the same Lord Jagannath. How you cannot take it? Right. And there are so many other pastimes that happens between there's another pastime between Sarvam Bhattacharya, Brahmananda Bharati, and Mahaprabhu. And how even Pratap Rudra, he sees that Lord Jagannath and Lord Mahaprabhu's ecstatic emotions during Rath Yatra. There are so many more, but yes, what is really required is our faith. We cannot see through our eyes. So once again, coming back to the verse that we read, in the beginning, 3.9.11 from Srimad Bhagavatam, and our process is Shruta Ikshita. We have to see the Lord through the ears. We have to see the Lord through the Shastras. We have to have faith in the words of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in the words of Mahaprabhu, in the words of Srila Prabhupada, that how they have realized it, that Jai Gaura Sri Krishna Sai Jagannath. That Gaura, Krishna and Jagannath, they are not different. It's really up to us, with that humility, with that surrender, and with that mood of like that Odia lady, without completely oblivious to anything else in our approach. At that point of time only we can realize the mercy of Mahaprabhu, the mercy of the devotees of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Any questions or comments from anybody before we wrap up? Anybody would like to share anything? Any questions from anyone? So happy to see so many devotees. So eager to hear about Lord Jagannath. Yes, like especially in Mayapur, the deities of Lord Jagannath who are there in Rajapur, they are also non-different. And then our Lord Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra in Puri, they also do Rath Yatra. They bring the deities from Rajapur to Mayapur, our Chandrodaya Mandir. And then in Mayapur also, during this time, from Rath Yatra to Gauda Yatra, they ensure that every day, there is a discussion of Jagannath. So we thought that yes, it's not that only on the day of Rath Yatra, right? We should speak about Lord Jagannath, right? Definitely, we should speak between Rath Yatra and Bahuda, and especially, it is mentioned like Lord Jagannath is merciful, definitely in Sri Mandira in his Ratna, in Ratna Vedi, and he's more merciful, right? While he was in the Rath, right? Because he is really, so eager, right? Seeing these so many millions of devotees coming to visit him. But then, right, it is mentioned that he's most merciful, right? While he is there in that Adapa Mandap, in that Mahavedi, while Lord is there in that Gundicha Mandir. So yes, once we are speaking about Lord Jagannath, we are also there, through this sound, transcendental sound vibration. So once we are remembering that Lord is there in Gundicha, because he's there in Vrindavan, he's with, all his beloved, associates. So whenever we remember Lord Jagannath means we are with Lord Jagannath at that point. We are pleasing Lord Jagannath. So we are really, receiving that mercy. So especially, we should, and there is usually, in Odisha and in so many other places, and they have this 9 days festival from Rath Yatra to Gaudatra. Every day is a festival. And in Puri also, right, when Lord comes to the Gundicha, he comes with all the tahiya and all the crown and everything. But then when Lord is about to enter the Gundicha Mandir, they take away the tahiya and everything, and they put a, Mayurachula, the peacock feather on his turban to show and signify that now Lord is entering Vrindavan. At that time, everybody, shouts, Jai Shyam Sundar Lord Jagannath ki Jai. Right. So there is the mood of the devotees. How they really relate to Lord Jagannath. So yes, and Srila Prabhupada has told us, how we can approach Lord Jagannath, and especially this Rath Yatra. And this is not the day of Jatra, Rath Yatra, that we pull, Rath cart, but every day, every moment, we put Lord Jagannath into our own heart. And yes, we have to purify our heart, and we have to pray to the Lord, please, Jagannath Swami, Nayana Pathagami Bhavatam, please come and reside in my heart, which is so dry, so deserted for years and millions of lifetimes. Now please come and give us a direction. Hare Krishna. Any other thoughts? So thank you very much for all your beautiful comments. I don't see any questions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Okay.
Thank you for the wonderful session, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai ki jai.
Jai.
Shri Panchatattva Bhagavan ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Vrind ki jai. Nitai Gaur. Thank you.
Thank you.
Prabhuji.
Thanks.